Let me just say, so long, farewell, Avida, say adieu. You know who is ranting that he will never concede. His lawyers are still claiming that the election was stolen from him, but they won't tell you by who. But yesterday, the General Services Administration head, Emily Murphy, finally acknowledged that President-elect Biden can formally begin his transition of power. And Biden announced some key and historic members of his cabinet. Now, when you heard this news, all of it, Anna, what did you think? Did you think, okay, we can take a deep breath?
Well, I thought about damn time, right? We've lost some precious time on transitioning. And I don't want to forget this lady's name, Emily Murphy, because she held the process hostage. She wrote this letter also yesterday, which was petty and all about her. She did make a good point, and I have said before on this show, I think there need to be revisions to the transition law, to the act that allows this, so that one obscure political appointee does not have the sole power of holding up the transition. There needs to be government oversight. But now to the good news. There are some great Biden cabinet appointments. It's so refreshing to see people who have such a depth of experience, who are, not political, who are not grifters, who are not under investigation. Most of these people have served as deputies of the departments that they're now going to be heading. My heart smiles and sings at the idea of Alejandro Mayorkas, the first Latino that will head DHS. He is a Jewish Cuban immigrant, a Juban, we call them here. And he wrote the most beautiful tweet that I'd just like to read to you. He wrote yesterday, "When I was very young, the United States provided my family and me a place of refuge. Now I have been nominated to be the DHS secretary and oversee the protection of all Americans and those who flee persecution in search of a better life for themselves and their loved ones." Oh, hallelujah. We are rid of the Stephen Miller era. And I'm so proud of him as an immigrant and as an American. I'm so grateful.
How about you, Joy?
Well, I will go along with all of that. I realize I've been in a rage for 4 years.
You're just realizing
we
this
came
now?
This close. We basically came this close to a dictatorship. I don't think people really get that 100%. I'm happy to get rid of people like Stephen Miller and the rest of the cast of The Lord of the Flies. I'm happy to have John Kerry dealing with climate. The climate change is one of the things. When I was a kid, I used to worry about nuclear war all the time because when I was young, they made us hide under the desk. And I used to say, well, why would I bring my library books back when we're all going to die in a nuclear war? And that basically describes my childhood. Happy Thanksgiving.
It explains a lot, Joy.
Right.
I know, but now as I grew up and as I grow up and have children and a grandson, I worry about climate change. That when I die, that child is going to have to deal with fires and floods and what have you, and it makes my heart feel better that somebody like John Kerry is in there. General Motors is now backing Biden, and they are going to go along with emissions control. These people would be drilling in the middle of Central Park if they could. I am so relieved, and I want my rage to disappear now. I want to be happy. People online are writing to me, Joy, get happy again. Well, I'm happy, okay?
This is you happy?
Okay. What about you, Sonny?
This is the happy face?
This is happy Joy. Yeah, this is it. How about you, Sonny?
I'm happy to see Joy happy because I believe for the past 4 years she has been in a rage. I have been very angry also. I'm getting the same kind of comments online. Sonny, why don't you smile? Why are you so angry? Because we've just been going through this constitutional crisis. As an attorney, I've been really concerned and upset for the future of the country. And now I do see a bit of light at the end of the tunnel, especially especially with the GSA administrator saying, okay, the transition can begin. Here's the $6 million that you need. We're going to have these meetings. And so that certainly is comforting. I had the opportunity to fly on a very long flight from LA to New York with John Kerry. We just happened to be seated next to each other. He has such depth of knowledge. He is, has served our country. I was just sort of blown away at the depth of experience, and to have him not only in a position of taking care of the climate, he also has a cabinet level position, and that certainly gave me a lot of comfort. And the fact that Biden hasn't appointed anybody with his last name, doesn't have people with limited experience in these very important positions. And most importantly for me, Whoopi, it's like the cabinet reflects the demographic shift of this country. The cabinet seems to be shaping up to look like all of us, to look like the world looks. You have Janet Yellen as Treasury Secretary. You have, like Anna was saying, a Cuban-born, DHS head. I actually love what I'm seeing out of the Biden campaign.
Excellent. What about you, Sarah?
I'm really excited, kind of piggybacking on what Sunny said. We're seeing why representation is so important. If it doesn't reflect the people, this is a government for the people, it should look like the people, or those interests aren't being considered and put in the front of the line. And I think the fact that we're hitting all these firsts, in our packet about stories we were talking today, there was also an article about how young people are less likely to trust a woman leader. If you can't see it, it is hard to believe it. And I think the fact that we're starting to see the faces of people that will eventually, we won't have to talk about all these firsts. Eventually, this will be one caveat. It will be a descriptor, not a qualifier. Right now, it's important to cheer this on that we've got two, Janet Yellen, first woman, Alejandro Mayorkas, as Anna and Sunny referred to. Also, Avril Haines is the first woman to be the director of national intelligence. We need to cheer for them now in order to get to the day where we don't have to talk about that, where they are just qualified and nothing else matters. So I am so excited to see the people reflected in these appointments.
Right. Well, it's an extraordinary thing. And, Joe said from the very beginning he would make, if he was nominated, he would make big changes so that his cabinet reflected the country it was representing. So he's done exactly what he said he would do. So I'm thrilled. I'm very happy.